how casually the Congress, along with the DMK in the 60s and 70s, dealt with a very sensitive issue, a piece of land that belonged to India, and how they casually gifted it to Sri Lanka, proof of which is in the responses that were given starting from Nehru, who said it's not an important issue for him. Here's how the fight is ongoing, and I'm going across to a special guest who's joining us on the show this evening.
In 1974, India and Sri Lanka, in June 1974, concluded an agreement where they drew their maritime boundary. And in drawing the maritime boundary, Katchatheevu was put on the Sri Lankan side of the boundary. Two parties, the Congress and the DMK, have approached this matter as though they have no responsibility for it, as though the situation is for central government, today's central government, for them to resolve. There is no history to this. This has just happened. They are the people who are taking up the cause. That is the way they would like to project it. So, as you can see, this is not just one prime minister, whether it was Pandit Nehru or whether it was Indira Gandhi. This very dismissive attitude, this little rock, this small island of no importance, this was the historic Congress attitude towards Katchatheevu.
C.R. Kesavan, BJP spokesperson, joining us on the show this evening. C.R. Kesavan, going through some of the documents here, C.R. I have a document here with me, and it's interesting. This is from the RTI reply that was filed, right? It's dated 10th of May 1961. It's in my hand. 10th of May 1961. It's a response from J. Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru, when asked on the issue of Katchatheevu, which was Indian land, an island that belonged to India. To which he said, and I quote, "I attach no importance at all to this little island, and I would have no hesitation in giving up our claim to it. I do not like matters like this pending indefinitely and being raised again and again in Parliament." Right? Today it's one of the biggest talking points, but I think whoever reads this or has been reading about this, it tells you at least how casually we dealt with issues of sovereignty. I mean, a prime minister saying it's not important to me, I don't have any hesitation in giving up our claim to it. And the same people are talking about China, talking about the LAC.
Good evening, Niranjanji. The foreign minister's press conference detailing the RTI documents which you were talking about has completely unmasked and exposed the devious nexus and the dubious double standard and the Shakuni-like match fixing which the Congress and the DMK did in 1974 to give away Katchatheevu Island, which was a part of India, and betray the Tamil interest and also undermine India's sovereignty and integrity. Like you were saying about the attitude of Mr. Nehru towards Katchatheevu, Katchatheevu, it's a very strategic, important piece of island to our national security, and it was a part of independent India. But the indifference, insensitiveness, and the uncaring, dismissive attitude of Pandit Nehru was carried on to his daughter, Indira Gandhi, who was the Prime Minister in the 1970s. And today's revelations very clearly say, when G. Vishwanathan and Member of Parliament from Tamil Nadu asked the Prime Minister, Indian government is so worried about Diogo Garcia, which is so many miles away, but why are we not concerned about Katchatheevu, which is just 14 nautical miles away from the Indian shore? And the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi dismissed him, saying the 275-acre Katchatheevu was a little rock. So this has been the historical attitude of the Congress party. But today's documents also reveal a very, very hitherto unknown nexus between the DMK and the Congress. In 1974, the Congress was ruling in the center and the DMK was running the state government in Tamil Nadu. And they were in alliance like they are now in the India alliance. And today's documents say, on June 19, 1974, the Secretary of the Foreign Affairs Department, Mr. Kewal Singh ji, had gone to Tamil Nadu and met then Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Kalaignar Karunanidhi on June 19, 1974. This is just a week before the Katchatheevu Agreement was signed on June 26th. So when he met Mr. Karunanidhi along with the Home Secretary of Tamil Nadu and the Chief Secretary, they discussed about giving away Katchatheevu, and the documents state that Mr. Kalaignar Karunanidhi, the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, signaled acceptance in principle, and then he also went on to say that it is for obvious political reasons I can't take a political stand, so I'll make sure that the reaction is low key. Now, from these documents, it is very clear not only who did this, betrayal of giving away the land, but who hid this. Till date, the DMK and the Congress have been saying they are championing the rights of our fishermen and fisherwomen, brothers and sisters of Sri Lanka, and they said that as if they had no role, they shed crocodile tears. But today, they have been clearly exposed that they colluded together and give away Katchatheevu and betray the Tamils, and people are very angry because today they've come to know, when this is the fact and the root cause of the problem, the fountainhead and the root cause which is afflicting our fishermen brothers and sisters, is because you have given away Katchatheevu. Their lives are in peril. Their livelihoods are in peril. They are attacked when they go to the waters. They have been imprisoned. They have been given prison terms, and sometimes they have lost their lives. So it is high time that the Congress party and the DMK own up to this, not just blunder, betrayal of the Tamil people and our nation, and apologize to them.
Yeah. Now, you called it a local issue, right? You called it a local issue, and I heard the response from the DMK that came in today. The DMK is of the belief that since it's a local issue, it won't have a bearing on the election. They say that you've brought it up just before the elections. They're calling it a non-issue, saying that after all these years, people won't remember, it's irrelevant. Now, how do you respond to that?
The DMK is rattled. So let us remember what our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji says. Everything is not about politics and votes. This is the same DMK that, today the Foreign Minister said, why, after knowing all this, why does the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu write 21 times, in a very dubious way to the Foreign Secretary saying, what happened to Katchatheevu? They very well know that they were the people in connivance with the Congress who gave away Katchatheevu, and that is very, very clear. And this is not about politics. It's on a daily basis. Our fishermen are being affected. Their livelihoods are in danger. Their lives are in danger. So the fact that these people were responsible has been exposed, and which is why they're extremely rattled that their betrayal has come to light.
Yeah. My last question to you, I have some of these documents, right? I mean, the RTI reply also talks about, for example, Attorney General Setalvad in 1958, who said, and I'm reading the exact words of his response. He said, the matter is by no means clear or free from difficulty, but on the assessment of the whole evidence, it appears to me that the balance lies in favor of concluding that the sovereignty of the island was and is with India. So the Attorney General back then said, sovereignty was of the island and is with India. So he was clear. Point number one, legally.
Very correct.
There's another note that I have here.
Krishna Rao also, the MEA Joint Secretary.
No, one more point. I'll point out to one more point. One more point, yeah. I'll read that out as well, because I have that with me as well. Right. The Joint Secretary Krishna Rao has clearly said, India has a good legal case which could be argued with considerable force. I am not suggesting that we have no case at all. I submit that a legal case in this connection may be used to obtain at least fishing rights around the island. Right?
Niranjanji, very
and
good question.
How big an issue, how emotive an issue.
Niranjanji, it's not just a local issue, it's a national issue, because from 1875 to 1948, the East India Company had given the rights of this land to the Raja of Ramnad. After 1948, once independence came, there was abolition of zamindari rights. So this land was vested with the then state of Madras. So it was a part of independent India. Now, when the bureaucracy, and people like MC Setalvad are very, renowned jurists, and when they say we have a strong claim, that this is an integral part of India, what was the reason for the DMK and the Congress to just give this land away? They have, and let me also add this. There was a very, specious promise in 1974 saying that though we have given Katchatheevu away, we'll retain the fishing rights, the navigation rights, and also the pilgrimage rights, because there are very important churches there where people go. But in 1976, the Congress government fortified these fishing rights and, navigating rights, which is why our fishermen are being attacked. So this is the history where, despite having a strong legal claim for Katchatheevu, the Shakuni-Like match fixing of the Congress and DMK forfeited this land and endangered our fishermen and fisherwomen, and also betrayed the Tamil people and undermined India's sovereignty and integrity. The people cannot be hoodwinked all the time. They are watching this, and they'll teach these people a befitting lesson in the coming days.